So you're sitting here and you're still wondering like, man, Modern Warfare has been out for a while, but I feel like I'm not getting better anymore. I'm not progressing. I'm not seeing the progress that I was seeing on earlier in the year. So today we are talking about fixable mistakes that you are making in Modern Warfare and ways that you can definitely still improve. So we're going to be going through a lot of different things in this video. Some are going to be more broad tips that apply to everybody, and then some are more competitive and more situational, but all of them will definitely make you better in the long run. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get right into it. Let's go. So the first thing is really simple. It's about your aim. It's your centering. And so for those of you who may be new to this, centering is basically where you're aiming the center of your screen on the map. Basically, if you're going around a corner, in your head, you're trying to picture where would enemies potentially be in this situation. And you're already centering your screen before you even come around the corner for those potential areas of danger. And that can work in a ton of different ways. It looks different maybe in like search and destroy, where you're waiting a little bit more, but your centering still matters a lot depending on where you're putting your screen, where you're aiming down sights. Generally, centering is more focused around when you're running around the map and you're keeping the middle of your screen always placed on the center of where danger could potentially come from. At this point in the year, that can be something that you kind of forget to prioritize, you forget to go back to the basics on, and it can be something that you're slacking on a little bit. So make sure to check yourself on your centering. So the next thing is your movement, your pace, and your patience inside of the gunfights in the craziest moments in the game. So of course, at this point in the year, if you haven't mastered the slide cancel or the bunny hop yet, then those are two things you've got to work on really, really quickly. I've got videos on the channel about how to do those things, and it really is very, very simple. So if you don't know how to do that, make sure to go look that up after the video, because it's really, really important to improving your movement in this game. But it's also really important to consider what's your ratio of aim down sights versus hip fire and where those certain things come into play. And so obviously you don't want to get caught sprinting. It's one of the most deadly things that can happen to you inside this game, especially if you're still one of those people breaking GAs and using auto tac sprint, or if you're just inclined to tactical sprinting a lot. That could be something that in itself is inherently going to cause you to die, because you can't aim down sights as fast out of auto tac sprint as you can if you're just not sprinting or if you're just normal sprinting. And so you have to be really, really aware about how much you're auto tac sprinting, in what situation tech sprinting, and how that can come into play later on. So for example, if you're inside of bathrooms on Gunrunner, you don't want to be just sprinting through that whole thing, because enemies are so often running through there. If you're playing Hardpoint, there's so many situations where you're going to get caught sprinting inside of bathrooms and it's going to cause you to die. You want to make sure to spread out your sprints and get through that bathroom, maybe at a little bit slower pace, but it will help to ensure that you get those crucial kills. So really practice breaking up your sprinting, and of course continuing to focus on how you center during those times when you're breaking up your sprints. So the next thing, of course, is your positioning on off angles versus your normal angles that you're playing. So pros talk about a lot is the advantage of off angles and how they play. The definition of an off angle is basically playing like a weird spot in the doorway, or playing like at a different angle that you would normally play in a doorway or on a head glitch or in some situation than what the average person would. And it really is just about that positioning in those certain areas and how you want to play those angles. Can specifically, a lot of times with how doorways work in this game, that all comes into play. It's really at the end of the day playing in weird and abnormal spots for what the average person would play, and catching good players off guard in that way, because that's just the best way to go about it. So the next two, of course, is how you play off of your teammates, the minimap awareness, the baits, and the trade. So of course, the minimap awareness is so crucial with how you play this game, especially, you know, in competitive. Of course, you've got the normal minimap. In pubs, it's a little bit different, but at the same time, the positioning off of your teammates is so crucial and can make or break how you play a map and how successful you are on the map. So competitively, baiting and trading is like shoulder peeking or sliding across a way to bait out shots from the opposing team so that your teammate can jump in, know where that opposing player is because he had just shot and was shown up on the minimap. So then your teammate comes in and cleans up that kill to make it happen. Trading, of course, is where one guy jumps into a hill, his teammate follows up and kills the guy that killed his teammate. That's trading, and those are fundamental aspects of competitive CoD and really all Call of Duty as a whole. The better you play off your teammates, the more successful that you will be as a player, and it is truly just so beneficial as a whole. So the next one is specifically important to competitive Call of Duty, and that's your communication and your ability to listen in the matches. When you're hearing those call outs and you're hearing everything that's going down, it's important that you're able to process the information incredibly quickly so that you go back to the drawing board on learning some of those call outs and understanding that communication. Or you as a team, if you're trying to improve in that way, go back to the drawing board and really specify certain areas on the map that cause you some problems sometimes, especially in search and destroy, where you need to call out in a certain area or something like that, or inside of certain hard points where you're communicating those things. Also inside of respawn for teams is really working on calling out the names of the people that killed them, or the names of the people that killed, keeping track of who killed who and what players were missing in the kill feed and things like that. All of that communication needs to be called out. Same goes for like trophy systems and all those types of things. That's the type of communication that can really be important and really help you grow as a player. Those are just things that are really beneficial to your future as a Call of Duty player down the road. So in that same light, this goes for casual and competitive play. Counting the kill feed is insanely important. So in your head, you're keeping track of how many people have recently died, which allows you to reason, okay, so if 3 people just died near the hill, that means they're spawning up right now. Those 3 people are spawning up within the next 2 seconds. So I can expect that 3 people will be running from back warehouse or into bottom L here in the next 4 to 5, 6 seconds. That timing is something that great players have down to a T. When they hear, okay, 3 are down, that means that they know immediately that 3 people are going to be spawning up in the next few seconds, and then they'll be flooding back out from that spawn, and they know exactly where they're spawning, which is the next thing we're talking about. So again, this can apply for pubs or for competitive. Really asking yourself, do I understand these spawns, at least as much as you can in Modern Warfare, because it can get a little crazy sometimes, but at the end of the day, okay, so if we're holding this side of the map and there's a player here, will I generally know where they're spawning? Like on Cave, on P2, if we're spawning at the back towards Useless, back behind sandbags, that means I know that they're either spawning back by garage or back in Cave, and they're only flooding in those 2 ways towards P2. There's no other place they're spawning. Like, those are the types of thoughts that you should be able to knock down at this point in the game. And if you don't, really work on that and focus on improving that over the upcoming few days and few weeks. The last 2 are really just strategies, basically more inside of search and destroy, and that is really latching on to what the other team is doing, identifying their trends, and then really trying to hard counter those trends in upcoming rounds. So if on offense you're like, wow, they really smoked out bottom L and they pushed through mid, so now we're going to send a stun to mid. So now if they're throwing a smoke, you throw the stun, you are slowing down that push, or you try to run in there, you try to get a trophy down and actually stop their smoke from ever landing in the first place. Those are all different kind of counter strategies that you can do, especially when it comes to like tactical grenades, stuns, smokes, that can really help you and your team down the road. So the last thing is basically just being really aware of when it's beneficial to be really aggressive and when it's very beneficial to play passively and slow down, especially inside of search and destroy. I mean, if you died in the last round because you tried to sprint out through mid and you got absolutely smoked in that way, think about a way to play slower and try to counter that play style and switch things up. Obviously, that's not always the answer. Maybe you can counter their aggression with more aggression and send more of your teammates through mid and try to identify those weak points in your setups. All of those things are incredibly important inside the match to allow your team to be fluid and reactive to what the other team is trying to do, and allows your team to be very flexible in how you push towards bombs and how you individually play and succeed as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys learned something new and found something useful in this video. If you guys did, I would really appreciate if you guys like, comment, subscribed. I really do appreciate all the support. It means a lot to me, and the likes and everything else, the interactions go a long way in promoting the video and promoting the channel as a whole. So I really do appreciate that. But as always, guys, I'm your boy Salvation Elite, and we will see you next time. I'm out.